ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, after multiple requests, I have decided to finish the Diamond to GM series. And I actually hadn't been playing on this account like at all, obviously. And so I played a game now just to make sure that we were at the correct. We were still like our MR wasn't reset yet, and it was not. So unfortunately, I will say just to start off like some of the earlier ones. The last video that I uploaded, I ended up at like 4,300, and then there was an episode after that that I did not unfortunately save. So because of that, there's kind of an MMR gap for 300 MMR. That's my fault, obviously, so I apologize for that. And I really thought about just like restarting entirely, but it would have been just fucking taking forever. And personally, like, it was a struggle bus to get through this as is. So from here on out, we're just gonna grind out. We're gonna try to end this at about 5.3k or so, which is like 100% like guaranteed GM. And I do think like this part right here is a part that I think many people can learn from, because it's like, how do you transition from being an M2 player to a GM player and all that jazz. So without further ado, we're gonna jump into our first game. All right, we're starting off here with a TVT against Skynet. My account name is I'm sorry because I'm obviously clearly smurfing. So I'm repenting. Cool. Okay. So if you guys recall, there was a couple of builds that I had set up. I might add an additional standard build to TVP. But TVZ will still be Hellion Banshee 2cc, and this will still be 3v for 2 Hellion. So we're gonna stick with the builds. The Google Doc will be linked in the description below if you want to check it out. And of course, something that I promised that I would do is handicap. Sorry, this will be a little bit of lag. Handicap my APM. Just to make it a little bit more fair, and obviously lessen the micro. I might have to lower these graphic settings a little bit because we're having a rough start here, because I'm clearly just lagging. Okay, we'll take our second gas here. It's a little bit late at 17. And then here you can rally this worker here to SUV scout. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just lower this slightly. I tried. At least I can say that I tried. Okay. Okay, we're getting worker harass. That's fine. It's a little bit of an early worker from our opponent. Something I like to do here is I'll halt the barracks SUV, and then I'll fight with both the workers. So there, because I fight with both workers, my barracks production is delayed, but I killed the SUV. And some people at this level obviously are not very fast, so he probably just didn't realize that I was eating his worker with my worker, and that's why that happened. Oh, that's. Let me go ahead and move this. There you go. Some hiccups here on the production. Okay, my opponent is playing fast expand. So when somebody plays fast expand like this, I actually have a build that you can do. Oh wait, actually, where do you put this command center? Okay, so hold that thought. Our opponent is missing a command center. So it's possible he's doing a proxy barracks, proxy 2 barracks, or sorry, where one barracks is proxied and the other one's at home. So I'm gonna send a worker to look for it, and I'm gonna keep this at home, this factory and this reaper here, rallied into my mineral line, because again, seems a bit odd. So obviously he should have had a command center, right? Looking at it, and that's an add-on there, but we didn't actually see one, and then they walled instead. So it could just be a little bit weird, but for now we're just gonna respect it. There you go. I'm pretty sure somebody at this MMR can micro reaper, so don't say that I'm scamming there, because I'm not. Now that I haven't found anything, I'm gonna go ahead and just send my reapers across the map, but I'm gonna keep my remaining units at home in case something counterattacks me, right? That's kind of like the idea. It's possible that my opponent took a hidden expansion, and we can go ahead and just like look for that here. Okay, here we'll run away. Like I said, I promised I wasn't gonna do too much micro, and what is that? An SCV. Okay, so it seems like there is a slight possibility that my opponent just took a hidden base. Nope. Oh, there it is. Yep. So because my opponent played really greedy and they've already lost the Reaper, I do have more units than they do. And because of that, I can actually just go ahead and be aggressive. Well, if I don't just eat my Hellion down the middle. And we'll repair it with the worker. We'll grab these two, and you just throw some grenades. And then we'll fight here. So just make sure everything is grouped together when you fight with these units. Obviously. And then we can repair a little bit with this worker. And then we'll go ahead and attack. And here, for example, you can pull back. We can probably assume that my opponent's going to go a Cyclone or a tank. And obviously, like, sometimes because of the lock-on, it's too fast. You're not really able to jump on it and kill it. So it's not really worth the risk, to be honest. And so what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to wait for my Cyclone. And in the meantime, just kind of repair my stuff. Because my opponent played really greedy, and they're going to be using their factory units to defend my actual army, I'm going to go ahead and... That's why I built a Banshee. And the Banshee will... And you can see here, this is what I meant, right? It's like, if I would have tried to kill the... Kept fighting here and tried to kill stuff, the Cyclone... His Cyclone would have killed some of my stuff. But because I didn't do that, it's fine. Okay, we'll just send one Cyclone home. And we'll rally some Marines, and we'll grab this. And so in the scenarios where you go 2 Cyclones, the reason why it can be good to build a Banshee as well is because if they lose their Cyclone to your 2 Cyclones, then they don't have any anti-air, or anti-air, and then they actually end up losing a lot of workers. Okay, that's not really showing up. Okay, we'll run away here. Run away with this in the corner, right? So that way we can just use our Banshee now. Start a tank. We can build another Raven. If you look at our main, we don't have to move the workers there, right? Because the Cyclone already locked on. And here my opponent is just playing very greedy. So after killing the Cyclone, now killing a Liberator, I'm actually going to go ahead and group all my units together. Because I clearly have an advantage, right? I have an advantage where I've killed multiple units of my opponent that have done no damage. And I know that my opponent is missing factory units, so, and has no Ravens. So because of that, that's kind of like my cue to go ahead and attack. And you can always kind of confirm and see where your opponent's army is before you make that kind of decision. So in this case here, it seems like their army's in their natural. So we can just go ahead and attack that base. Well, right before we begin the attack, let's just transition. Like I said, I wasn't going to micro. Maybe it's a little bit more obvious a micro move. And then we'll go up a ramp, and then I won't focus on transitioning because I want to focus on winning here. And you can see what I mean about how my opponent was just missing a lot of crucial units because they lost so many. Like, look at this. So here, what was the indicator that our opponent was playing odd? So if we reflect on this here, we scouted, and this opener looks very, very similar to ours, right? We scout in here, and we see, okay, no command center, right? And then we see this. So now, a missing depot isn't actually, like, a very obvious indicator that you're being cheesed, per se. Or that they're playing, or that they're, you know, missing units or hiding buildings. Because sometimes they build a second one here. So you want to actually look at the gases. So we come in here and we see this. Okay, 1 gas, no second gas, right? No second gas, and an orbital. At face value, this looks like a fast expand, right? So I'm like, that's a bit odd. I left here because I thought that they had just built it down here. But when I go back down, I realize it's not there. Because it's not there, maybe the next step is that my opponent is maybe mind gaming me, and they're just simply going to build this one in their base. So what do? I go back into their base. I will lose the worker, but I haven't seen a command center on this side. There's no way a command center fits here. It only can fit here, but there is no command center here. Now, my next step here was to see if they had taken this gas yet or not, but there was no gas. So I actually didn't expect him to just take the third. I actually thought that they were just going to proxy me. But if you noticed, I didn't like freak out. I didn't like build a bunch of bunkers. I didn't do any of that stuff. All I did was put my Reaper in my mineral line to be safe. And then I started looking for stuff, right, with this other worker. I'm like, okay, maybe there's a proxy. I'm looking around the corners here. He jumps in with the Reaper. I killed the Reaper. And then I was like, oh, there's only one Reaper. There's no more Reapers. So now, in my head, I'm going to go ahead and keep scouting now. Because this is very odd to me. So, like, maybe my opponent is hiding, like, one Reaper into, like, a reactor. And now they're going to do, like, proxy factory, proxy starport. And then, when I came in here and I noticed 2 Marines at home, I'm like, that's a little bit odd as well. So, I was like, maybe they took... It's a long shot, but maybe they took a hidden base, right? We said that in the game. Sure enough, our opponent takes a hidden base right there. And that's what gave us that information. So, that's how you kind of want to... You can see how we gradually piece together more and more information. But the hardest part is always knowing what stuff means. And that's obviously the point of this guide. So I feel like this game overall is really, really, really good for what we're looking for. Which is just like, what does this stuff mean? How does it make sense? And what kind of logical conclusions can you draw from what you're seeing? So let's go ahead and jump into our next game. All right, second game here. Another TVT against a 4-4 Terran. I did say when I cut the last game, I ended up getting promoted to M1. So that's a bit smooge, but it's okay. I really don't think it's that big of a deal. Still the same exact MMR. So let's continue onwards. Let me know, by the way, if you... Oh, and actually, let me show you my control groups. Let me know if you guys prefer health bars or no health bars. For now, I'll leave the health bars on, but... We're going to play a TVT here. Literally, same build. Same exact build. We're going to set our camera locations. Go 1, 2... And TVT on Moondance, like to take the outside base as a gas. So we'll take that one. And 4. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then route. What the fuck? Okay. So you just SV micro here. I guess they don't know that I just micro better than they do. So we're having an intermission here. Okay. Well, this game's over now. Just go ahead and start a barracks. He's gonna repair. Not like it really matters. Oh, I'm trying to record a series out here, man. What is this? SV micro again. Just like that. Now he's stuck in a funnel, so all my SVs just hit surface area. There you go. Kind of just follow them. There you go. That's another dead one. And now he's all dead. Well, there you go, guys. Game 2 is done. If you ever get SCV pulled, it doesn't work as Terran. You have to be Protoss there because their stuff can actually regen. All right. See you guys in the next game, I guess. Got ourselves a TVP. I'm gonna do the 3 racks because that's the build that we discussed. And the document. And then I think as we progress, I'll add like a Widow Mine Drop fast expand. But for now, here we go, lads. We just got SCV pulled. And now I'm smooching. So 3 racks kind of died out in this meta. It's not as popular, but I do think that you can still use it. It's not that big of a deal, personally. I think more so you just need to know like what you want to be doing in specific scenarios, obviously. Also, I should have updated my MMR screen, which I totally just did not do that. So let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and do that at the end. I'm trying to be like use thermal, and it's just not working out. So racks here, gas. All right, there you go. Now for SV scouting. Okay, for SV scouting, we're gonna send this worker here. So at the 17th supply, you're gonna rally cross, and we'll pull one here. Okay, we're not gonna react to the pylon yet unless we know it's a cannon rush. Remember what I said here about pulling your SCV? Okay, there you go. And then, like I said, we're not gonna react unless they start building cannons. There you go. So it wasn't going to do anything, right? So if you overreact there and you pull too many SCVs, first of all, if they're cannon rushing you and they build it there, already the worst cannon rush ever. Ideally, they would start here, build 2 cannons here, and then you're kind of fucked. But yeah, so for there, just put a worker on the probe. Don't worry about it too much, and then you're pretty much set. And then if they do build cannons, and the off chance they do build cannons, you want to pull your workers and then put 3 SCVs on each cannon. What the heck? He's trying to be like me so bad. Anyway, this looks very standard, so we'll go ahead and rally our Reaper across the map. Let's go ahead. Start our SCV here. Depot. Build a Marine. Now, if you want to be fast, use those fucking camera locations, okay? Look at this. I can navigate my bases so much easier. Even my rally point, look. F1, F2, camera location, fix my rallies. F1, look at that. You got a rhythm, okay? It's like a Latin song. If you watch my stream, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. This SCV. I build a bunker. I don't like to go up the ramps. I actually wait until the adept goes down. See that there's an adept. Then you can just run away. And then as we're running away, we hit our camera location for our rally point, and we get a bunker. Now here I built 2 Marines because it's very safe against if they decide to just yeet their adept across the map. Oh shit, I forgot I was gonna 3 racks. No. Okay, so we're gonna do what am I drop? Okay. I apologize. This is entirely my fault. I completely autopiloted. And I am a terrible content creator. Okay. So Widow Mine, we scouted the Stargate obviously, so we're not gonna do the mine drop, but we will build a mine and put it in our mineral line. Okay. That's important. You want to put that Widow Mine in your mineral line, and then you can even build 2 if you want. But it's just that you don't really want to send the drop. In the off chance that they go Phoenix, or likewise, and we'll wall off here. It's kind of risky if you send the drop and then the Oracle comes in. So, we'll go for the rescout. It's okay if it dies. We want to see what they're building. In this case, it is an Oracle. Sorry, we'll start a Viking. And then we would have ideally wanted to click on that building. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a guess and say it's a Robo. So we're not gonna build a Raven because we actually don't know if our opponent is gonna follow with Phoenixes. If you want to build a Raven, you can, but that is incredibly coin flippy, and personally, I am uncomfortable with gambling. So we don't need to do that. And then here we can build a Cyclone. Actually, we don't need to build a Cyclone because we have a Viking now, and we can build a tank. The tank is good because sometimes, and something that's very popular in this meta currently, is people going 1 Oracle into Blink. Some lag for my opponent. And having a tank is nice. For that, the Viking is already plenty, and the mines are plenty for the Oracle. So it's really not super important to like have like 2 units for anti-air purposes. Now, I'm gonna go ahead, start my 3rd barracks, start my tank, swap these. Just got our add-ons. We're only gonna build 2 tanks, and then we're gonna go into Widow Mines, in case you're wondering. It doesn't have to be 2 tanks. It could also be 1 tank, but me personally, with the way the build orders line up, usually it's 2 tanks, and then we'll start +1. It's okay to start +1 before combat shields, because combat shields takes less time to produce. So if you're like, what do I use my gas on? I can't build both. You can just build +1 attack. And then here, I want to see what my opponent is doing, so I'm actually going to go ahead and drop a scan in the natural. And we're going to confirm that this is a Robo. There is a Forge. This is probably +1. And there's 2 gases. Some bunch of adepts. So the 2 gases, in my eyes, this is a Colossus kind of thing. And it's not like 100% guaranteed, of course, but this is just something that we can kind of like, in a way, deduce from the amount of gas. If they're missing 1 gas, it's usually just gateway spam. But like I said, I'm not going to just assume things. I do have 2 tanks as is. And if there are Colossus or some kind of Robo units, then I will be okay. And you can... Now, we know there's an Oracle across the map, and he hasn't used any Revelations. So he might have used the energy on stasis traps. So before you're going to move out, send a unit across the map and see if you're running into any traps. They're a bit hard to see, so if it's better for you to just like literally yeet your unit in there, that's completely fine. You just want to make sure you're not running into them. Okay, cool. Now we're going to go ahead and unload here, and we're going to hit a 6:30 timing. Look at that. Look at how that lines up. Very nice, right? We are missing a Raven. That is true. But that's okay. We'll start a third as we move out. Sorry, I'm really trying to make sure that I'm not playing too fast. And then, okay. My opponent, we'll go ahead and scan. What do we see? A couple of Immortals, and that's kind of it. So, me personally, I'm okay pushing against this. I did hear the Stasis Trap. We're gonna back up, right? Because we know it's there. There you go. We'll target this battery first. Alright, no battery. We'll pull back into the tanks. And then we'll just fight. I was gonna micro, but I won't do it. We'll just fight. And behind this, click all your production. Make sure you're building. Throw your mines. Okay, it seems like we're losing the fight. Let's go ahead and leave. Just pick up. As soon as you're done pushing, you're gonna start +1 armor. And you're gonna add 2 more barracks wherever you please. Just don't block your shit. Okay. And then, because of the composition my opponent is playing, Ghosts are pretty nice here because the Immortals are obviously not very good if you drain all the shields. And Void Rays without shields are also really ass. So the solution in this scenario is to just build Ghosts. And so here, I took a really good trade because his units are very expensive. And right now, I can apply pressure some more, and I will. But I don't necessarily have to take a fight unless I feel like I can just win. Really what I'm wanting to do here is continuously apply some kind of like pressure and map presence. But I mostly just want to wait until I have Ghost because it's just the safest thing to do. It's like the difference between pulling out and using a condom. Like if you pull out, there's a chance you don't get pregnant, right? Or your partner doesn't get pregnant. But it's not always 100%. But if you just wait, slap that rubber on there, it's 99.9% efficient. Look at that. There you go. Pulling out wouldn't have worked here. And I definitely would have gotten pregnant. But that's why you scan. See why we scan ahead of time? You guys would A-click that shit and call it a day. But no, we're going to wait for Ghosts. Okay, so the Ghosts are going to be like our condoms here. And you don't really have to build like Vikings. Okay, here we'll stim because my opponent's like right here. And we're just going to wait. We're really just going to wait until we have Ghosts. If he attacks us, I will literally run away. Okay, there's my first Ghost. Let me burrow my mines. Burrow the mines first. Okay, they reposition. Let's move this way. Let's EMP the Immortals. Let's run away from the Widow mines. Look at that. Look at that. I did lose a lot of workers, right? But no shields. And everything just died. And now you can kind of chase them, right? Here we'll run away. You can kite a little bit if you can do that. But this is very all-in. Once these Ghosts come out, the Archons are really useless. Let's check it out. If you're feeling dicey, you can even try to like click them. Put them in a bunker here. And this is very all-in for my opponent. So I'm not really freaking out here. You can even evacuate this base if you want. Maybe if you're worried about your command center dying, you can kind of save it. But once you kind of start cleaning this up, then you can go ahead and scan. We see that there is a third, but there's hardly anything on the third base. And that is very, very reassuring. Because obviously we know that that third base doesn't actually have a lot of minerals, and you also can't fit that many workers on it. And I still have 56 workers and mules. So I'm feeling very good about this. Like, super good. The Ghosts were like... Oh, there's an observer right there. The Ghosts were like Plan B. We had an emergency Plan B pill. Because pulling out wouldn't have worked. Now we've averted a child. Okay, that's a weird rotation. Let's scan. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, right? But we have a wall off. On some EMPs. You can move some of these workers if you know how to micro. Very basic micro going on here. Literally not even moving. And there you go. Bro, nobody GG's here. What the fuck? So pretty much... Oh my god, I listened 200 APM. That's insane. So pretty much all we did here was... That was a lot of stuff that we saw. We knew that we needed Ghost before we fought. Right? We pulled back. We got Ghost. And then it made it way easier to deal with this kind of army. And our opponent was very all-in. Because this stuff is really expensive. So if you actually think about it, if you're building Immortals, Void Rays, Archons, like, that shit's expensive. So naturally, this person was probably pretty all-in. And they were. So, very, very straightforward game. I'm sorry I didn't 3 racks. Although I think if I had 3 racks, this would have been a W. So, easily. But, yeah. Alright. Let's recap the MMR here. We're at 47-15 now. And perhaps I'll play one more game. We'll see. We'll see. Alright, guys. This is the last game of this episode. We are at 47-15, as I mentioned before. And we have another TVP. This time, I swear to you, I will play 3 racks. Okay. So, playing on East here against Orion. Or Onion. But I'm pretty sure it's Orion. And it is. Okay. So, I've actually managed to play below 200 APM, which is actually unfathomable. So, you can't say that I am not handicapped to some extent. Alright, so, Depot. Let's go ahead and set up our camera locations right away. 2, 3, 4, worker. Camera, rally point location. If you actually are considering getting the rally point camera location, please do. Like, it is freaking amazing. It actually changed my life. It actually made me 10 times better. If you really want to play like a pro and optimize your settings to the best of your ability, please, camera location is the way to go. Okay, so here, like I said in the previous game, we're gonna rally our SUV now across the map. Okay, that's a very fast probe scout. I'm gonna pull one SUV. This SUV is getting harassed. Let's halt it. Let's fight their worker. They move it away. That's okay. We simply just go back to building our base. And we're going to populate our gas. So overall, just a very normal start, right? Very, very normal start. Put this here. Because we want to play like a pro gamer. Oh, my rally point location got reset. There we go. We're going to go Marine first, and then we're going to pull off gas, but we're going to wait until this probe leaves. We'll grab another worker. There we go. We'll pull 2 off gas. And you do want to kind of be a little bit... okay, never mind. I was going to say you want to hide the Marine if you can, but... Okay, you guys can definitely kite, so don't say that I'm cheating there, because you guys can actually micro to some extent. Okay, wait, is he chronoing this? Okay, our opponent is chronoing that, but you know what? That's okay, because we're already playing 3 racks, so by the time this unit comes across the map, we will have a total of 3 Marines, so really not that big of a deal. Okay. Very nice. This work. We can put back on gas now. We'll put a little bit earlier because I want to build extra Marauders this game. So I'll show you guys what that looks like. We can go ahead and build a bunker. This is not required with this build, but if you are scared and nervous or you suffer from premature ejaculation, this could be the means for you to survive. Okay, we see that. We push it away. Very easy. Start an orbital. Mule. Notice that if you actually control group... I said I wasn't going to micro, and I'm not. So right here, this kind of... The way this is going with my opponent, this feels like they're going Oracle. So we're actually going to go ahead and rally 2 Marines into the main. We'll complete our bunker. And then we'll just... Like I said, it's not 100% guaranteed. Like this, for example, because there'll be DT drop. But it is a possibility, and we want to respect possibilities, right? We want to limit the amount of like random stuff that can kill us. Okay, he completes the shade. This seems like it is Oracle. You can move some of these Marines. Let's fix that rally there. Take our second gas. Okay, our opponent left their stuff there, but now we can just kill it. We'll fix our thing here. And we're gonna kill 2 maybe? No, just 1. Cool. Alright, so I'm feeling a little confused, and I do have some energy, so I will use one scan only. My opponent has a Twilight Council, so it is possible that it's still a Dark Shrine. Okay, now, the good thing is that we're walling off the low ground, which is actually a very important thing. Because that means that if they do DT drop us, they can only send the 2 DTs in our main, and there's no DT that can go into our natural, and that's very important. Because it makes it easier to do damage control when there's only 2 DTs in the same location, as opposed to 3 DTs and they're in both your mineral lines. Now we're going to go ahead and move out now. This is a little bit late, and that's okay. It's typical of some of our range, right? And then we'll do that, do something with this, fix this, and custom shells, very nice. And nothing has happened yet, so I'm gonna wait like 5 more seconds, and then if nothing actually doesn't happen, there you go. Do the mules, we'll get +1. And then we're just gonna stim on up here. Fuck it, let's go. Okay, 1 sentry, 2 sentries. We can kill this. Shield battery, and then we'll run away. Now, a couple of things here. We see an immortal. Oh, I think my opponent does have blink, but they don't have that many stalkers, so this is actually not too bad. Run away. Take our gases now. Start a 3rd. We're gonna start a starport, a reactor. We're vibing. We're vibing. We're simply vibing out. Now here, your transition is very simple. It's something that a mistake that I've just currently made is that I didn't actually see my opponent at a 3rd. So let's go ahead and check that. And now we're gonna wait for our 2 medevacs to push out. We killed 2 sentries and a battery. I'll take it. Maybe not the best trade per se. And it seems like our opponent realized it was 3 racks when they saw all of our marines, and that's fine. That's very normal, right? It does seem like they're gonna play some supply block. Probably also typical. We're gonna go ahead and probably be playing against Colossus. So I'm gonna go ahead and build tanks. Here I see no base there. Let's check the other one. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. Okay. Now, something I'm noticing about his army currently is that there's actually not that many stalkers. And this could mean that we might be able to bust out some sort of drop play. Oh, sorry, our 3rd is faster. Go ahead and just land that now. None of our command centers are in the red, so that means you don't really have to transfer any. That's perfect. That means we'll leave them as they are. We can do an observer check, armor, orbital. I don't really see one, but I'm just blind. And we'll move out. We'll scan again. What do we see? A Colossus. Who would have guessed? Okay. Still missing some stalkers. So I'm going to go ahead and load up 2 medevacs. And I'm actually going to drop his natural. Now, before you actually yeet that in there, please make sure that that's actually the case. This is fine. It's fine if they see you. Just be careful about committing. That's more so what you want to be thinking about here. So my opponent is building every tech unit possible, minus actual units. This is fine because only 3 stalkers. Okay. This will run away, right? We checked it. Didn't work out. Our opponent is losing to 1 drop. Keep building workers. Now we pick up the Marauders because they're more important and we run away. And then this group up here will come back. Now we're supply block. That's okay. Because I'm simply just playing too fucking slow right now. I cannot battle this. Now we can regroup everything together. We'll start Ghost here because, like I said, our opponent is kind of having Archons. And we saw a total of 0 forges. Now, seeing a total of 0 forges is a little bit munkas, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that our opponent is cutting upgrades for more units. That's pretty normal, so we'll just play a little safe for now. Let's go ahead and set up some MiGs turrets for Warp Prism Harass. Unload that. Now we have 4 medevacs, so we can start Vikings. I know this is obviously very tough to afford. You might be thinking MiGs. I'm not. What the fuck? Oh, look, no upgrades. Who would have guessed? I'm thinking MiGs. What about 2-2? If your opponent's cutting upgrades, there is no need for that shit. Alright, you need Ghosts. Okay, we need Ghosts. So that's why we're building Ghosts instead of 2-2. And there's a fat warpin in our main, so let's go ahead and address that. Actually, no, we're gonna fight this first, and that's a lot of stuff, so we're gonna micro the best that we can. Oh, there's my ghost. What the fuck? And look at that. We ignored this in the main because the main army was more important to deal with. And now we're going to go ahead and save our main from death. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that our opponent warped in more zealots in my base. The reason why that's an important detail is actually because if they're warping in units in my base, that means they're not warping in units in their base, which means that they don't have more army. And we pretty much cleaned all this up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to attack across the map. Why are we going to attack across the map, Migs? Well, because my opponent just lost like every single tech unit, the Colossus most importantly. Right? And we have a lot of ghosts, so we're going to go ahead and push. And we also took a significant amount of damage, so it's not like we're entirely free of just like, oh, but we won the game. That's not really true. So I'll push across. Let's fix our gas here. We'll scan. What do we see? A naked Colossus. And no fourth. Let's check the other one. Still no fourth. That's actually pretty good for us. We'll run away here, and then we'll blank it with EMPs, right? What do we learn? EMP and then attack. What's happening here is my opponent just doesn't have enough stuff. Super battery, that's okay. Keep macroing right here. And just go into the natural. Kill the Robo. So no more Colossi boys. Kill the Pylon. And now we force him to fight us, right? Because he has to respect the threat of that base. And what do you know? We've actually held. Holy shit. We've won the game. So, if I didn't build a Ghost Academy fast enough, I would have actually been griefing super hard. Because he actually almost killed me. But here, thankfully, because we had... Oh, there was the Observer. See, I'm just blind. I actually didn't realize that my ghosts were rallied in my bunker. So be careful about that, guys, because I really could have had some EMPs. But basically, to summarize this game, as we end here, is I pulled away from this because I don't want to defend this. First, I want to defend this main fight. And as long as I pull my SCVs away and I don't lose any, then I'm safe. His army gets split up here. This is looking a little scary, but my ghosts come out, blink at the EMPs, and then that's pretty much smooth sailing from there. So if you enjoyed this series and you're happy that it's back, please, please, please support, like, subscribe, donate, follow, sub, whatever, everything you can. We're ending at 47:30, and we'll be back with episode number, I don't know, let's just say episode number 2 at this point. Deuces!